Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
And we are live with another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I've got a special guest, Scissor from ComX. ComX?
Hello.
Is it ComX or ComX? I keep thinking it's ComX.
COMX. So
okay.
ComX.
Okay. Cool. How's everyone doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, it's the first day of summer. Rain's falling down.
Summer storms have started. They started like 2 weeks ago.
Mariah Carey's finally breaking out of her icy prison.
Oh no. Oh no, I forgot about that. Oh, this is why I don't leave the house.
The supermarkets have been playing Christmas carols for nearly a month already.
Oh no.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, the other day I was hearing Last Christmas, but not the Wham edition, just like some person's cover. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Does it count as failing Whamageddon if you hear a cover?
Oh, Jesus. All right, so for our topics for this week, we have the store game shutting down, Denis Villeneuve's disinterest in Star Wars, and is there a cure for cervical cancer? The answer is yes, there is a cure, finally.
You sound really deflated by that.
It's a bit of a worry. It's a bit of a worry.
I don't know. I mean, everyone keeps saying like there is a cure, but then they're like, it's not really a cure, you know?
Well,
we'll have to explain how it works to you when we get to that topic.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, so on to our first topic, Professor. So the story of games shutting down. What's that all about?
Well, there's a international company, Game, who are unsurprisingly a game store. They started in the UK. We used to have a couple of branches in Australia. I don't think we do anymore. But that's all part of the greater contraction of the physical game market.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So the headline here from Eurogamer, inside the fall of game, no games, no accessories. Instead, we received 136 Zendaya action figures.
Ouch.
Yeah, so they're not actually selling games anymore.
Go to Game, buy some action figures. Maybe they'll have to change their name to Figures.
Oh.
Yeah, well, if you go up the Chermside, there's, I think it's a Game Traders.
Ah, yeah.
Which I don't think they actually trade anything. They have a huge bench of Pokemon cards, which I suppose are traded game stuff. Okay, my point's invalid.
Oh, shit.
But 80% of the store is things that aren't games.
Ah.
Yeah, I used to remember when I walked into a game shop, they were selling like they were selling a Zelda shield at one point. One of those big Zelda shields, yeah.
Yeah. If it's game related, I guess it's not too bad, but it does make you wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it turns out... No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say comic shops are very similar. They sell a lot of other stuff now more than they do comics to a certain degree. Because they've just got to do that to survive.
Yeah, I think it's funny though. DJ's just linked the dicksmith.com link for a Legend of Zelda shield.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Dick Smith.
Which Dick Smith went through the exact same thing like 20 years ago. They stopped selling what they were known for. They were an electronics shop. Then they became just Dick Smith and sold appliances and toys and stuff. And then they died out completely.
And yet their website's still running.
Yeah, they got bought out by Kogan.
Ah.
Zelda shield. That is the weirdest thing to see in there. Oh, what have they got to do to survive, I guess? Oh my god, there are Christmas decorations up already in their website.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. 1st of December, gotta love it.
Oh, even before that, I went to Intrapilli Shopping Centre about a month ago. Already had the decorations up.
Oh,
Mm.
Jesus. But yeah, it really sucks when you have like games companies not exclusively selling games anymore. I mean, it's becoming it's becoming a broad shop now.
Yeah. Well, I think they have to do that because I'm probably guilty of buying most of my games through things like I forgot what they're called. Is it a Dreamcast? Is that one of them?
That was a
No,
console from the 90s, so probably not.
probably not. That's what I'm getting confused then.
Are you
I've got
thinking like online stores?
no, not online stores, like the actual manufacturer of the game. They have their own sites to buy their game directly from them over the net, and it
All right.
uploads to your computer through their system. I
Oh,
think a
you
lot
mean
of people do that now because
oh you
Steam is one of them, the Microsoft one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I know
Steam isn't
Steam.
owned by Microsoft.
It's not. I thought it was.
No, Microsoft has their own store, but Steam is owned by Valve, who is founded by a former Microsoft employee.
Oh, that's where I'm getting confused.
So yeah, we're buying all our games online these days, and they're not exactly try before you buy or something you want to touch and look at before you pick it up. So what value does having a game store on in the shopping center give?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point.
Yeah, I think nowadays, I think well, back in the day, it used to be like you just go into the store and just pre-order a game, and then yeah, that's it. Now you can just easily do that online now, and don't have to walk into the store.
And let's face it, how many serious gamers leave the house?
Ooh,
Ouch.
yeah.
I'm
Are we
talking hardcore gamers here, not just your casual gamers.
yeah, yeah.
They leave to go to work to earn more money to buy more games.
And you also have to take into consideration, like, let's say if you want to buy a collector's edition of a certain game, it gets delivered to you. Like no more like going to on the day you go to EB with your smile on your face, going, "I'm gonna get this collector's edition of this game that I've been spent on for months on lay-by."
You mean pre-order?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do they even do like big physical pre-order bonuses these days?
I don't. Somewhat. Like,
Because it's been about 10 years since I've bought a collector's edition or pre-order bonus that came with physical bits.
Yeah, about the same. Maybe even longer since I've even bought a game from a store. Once you can buy them online, I was like, why go to the store?
yeah. Uh,
It's
it,
like Professor was saying. It's like you pick up a game box. It's like, what does that really tell you about the game, except for the blurb on the back, which you can also read that blurb on the internet. So,
I'm looking at EB Games right now. The interesting thing is like the things that they're selling, just similar to game in terms of video games. You also had like console and hardware, gaming accessory, digital currency, PC gaming, trading cards, collectibles, homewares, cooking and lifestyle, clothing and lifestyle. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, speaking of cooking, I was in an EB Games the other day looking for present ideas.
Yeah.
Not that I'll probably buy them from EB. If I do, I'll probably buy them somewhere else because it works out cheaper, which is another thing against them. Like, the only reason I was there was to just browse through the shelves and see what was actually recent releases I might have missed. And they had a Star Wars themed toaster.
oh, hang on. Is this the one that burns the face of Darth Vader onto the toast?
Yeah.
That has got to be awesome. A Star Wars themed toaster.
I've heard of that one.
Although maintenance would be a bitch of would be a bitch though, wouldn't it? Just like, okay, I'm gonna try and clean this toaster without scratching the plate.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they actually make the pattern.
The plate makes sense.
But on this in this article, they also have some interviews with former game employees and current employees who are
Oh.
pointing out that they're not receiving any stock of some of the biggest launches of the year. They have a bunch of people who come in and want to buy a game, but it's not in stock.
Oh, that's a shame. That would hurt
Even
them.
people who pre-ordered aren't getting their products on release day.
Oh, that's a kick in the teeth. That
Yeah,
really sucks. So what do they get? So what do they get instead? Just curiously.
nothing. They walk in, they say, I want to pick up my pre-order, and it came out today, and they're told it's not in stock.
Oh.
So whoever's handling distribution behind the scenes
Mhm.
is terrible at their job.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
And this all sounds like it's because they got bought out by a company called Fraser's Group, and the Fraser's Group are just skinning everything they can and trying to cut costs too far. So I don't know how much of an impact that is on Australian game stores, but
Hmm.
it is an interesting thing to note that in
They're
the
in
last 10
Singapore.
years, 20 years, people have stopped buying physical games almost entirely, and game stores around the world are pivoting to selling merch.
Yeah, well, they're owned by Zing as well, aren't they? That
Yeah,
Zing
EB and
are
Zing are the same group.
yeah, same company.
EB still has the physical games. Zing, I think, sells a few board games, but
Yeah,
they're
mostly about
more
toys.
merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more about merch and toys. That's probably EB realizing that selling games is not the way to go anymore because it's just decreasing and decreasing. Because, like you said, everyone's buying online anymore. Why would you go into a shop except to buy the cool accessories?
Maybe
See, I
we,
see a picture of EB games you just sent us, and I'm pretty sure that's a Zing right next to it.
maybe it's just because they the game cup like stores like EB and Zing, they're now trying to cater to the fans instead of the hardcore gamers, for example. You know,
Possibly.
like let's say for example, you got a friend of yours who's a big League of Legends fan, the EB Games, and we go, okay, we got this cool League of Legends pop vinyls, for example. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you hardcore gamers are not going to care about that.
Yeah.
But they're probably buying everything online as well.
Hmm.
So they can get it quicker.
Yeah.
Because if it's released on that day and you're buying it online, you can buy it the hour that it's been released, not later that day or something like if you buy it from a shop. Or like Professor was just saying, it's not even in on the first day.
I do have a question for you though, fellas. Given what we've seen with Game and how they're shutting down, do you think we're gonna see a similar fate to EB and Zing? If given the direction how the gamers are buying games online and more merch are coming out in shops instead of games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I reckon you'll see the game specific shops like EB becoming more and more like Zing.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, some of them are
Especially
merging. Some of them are merging, becoming both.
yeah, in smaller shopping centres there will be an EB that shares its
Half of
shelves with a Zing.
Yep, we had that here at Toonbull before it got destroyed. Not EB Games and Zing. The entire shopping centre got destroyed. Just putting it in.
Yeah, it was badly flooded a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they've
And
actually demolished it. There's nothing left now. Just
And
big flat dirt and rubble.
the other question you also have to ask is like, is this the fate of every monopolized businesses as well? Because Game was a big monopoly, if I recall.
Oh, really? See, I've never heard of them.
yeah, I think EB Games was much bigger in Australia.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
I think, are you saying monopoly as in one company controls the entire market? Or do you mean monopoly as in they focus on one type of stock?
Yeah, focused on one type of stock in a sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
not sure I'd call that a monopoly.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not a monopoly. That's a Oh, what would you call that actually? No, I can't think of a word for it. Concentration? No, that's not it. Narrow focus. Narrow focus probably is it.
Yeah. But anyways, but the nomenclature aside, you reckon like Game was was one of the big cheeses back in the day, and now seeing them fall fall to that, like you reckon like EB is a big cheese now.
You know what I reckon also killed it? The
Oh, yeah?
death of second-hand sales.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think of that made them awesome. You go get a cheap game that someone else had already played.
Like about 10 years ago, when I think the downfall really started, we had Xbox coming out and specifically saying you won't be able to sell your game secondhand at E3.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, there was. You might remember the E3 presentation for the Xbox One. I think was
So
it the
they
Xbox One
so did
around
they
then? I
put that
think so.
into the code that you could only register it to one machine?
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's
and
crazy.
then Sony went up next, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, you will still be able to sell your game secondhand." But I think that was a big nail in the coffin for them.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that totally makes sense because that was probably the biggest advantage of going into store was you could get a cheap game that were pre-used,
Hmm.
pre-played
Yeah,
because you get the new ones online, but you can't get secondhand ones online.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you can, but that's called pirating.
And now, and what's also interesting is that with EB, you've also got other companies that are also joining into the games race, like JB Hi-Fi, for example.
They've always had a small gaming section.
Yeah, they have gaming computers as well, so that's probably something maybe EB Games needs to go down that route, not just toys and accessories. What actual? I mean, oh, then again, I don't really know the sales figures of these things. It is what do you call it? Terminals, not terminals. Consoles. Are they the bigger game types that are sold, or is it PC? Because I walked
Well,
into EB Games a while ago, and there weren't many PC games. But I thought that was just because they're so easy to buy online now.
yeah, I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it by the numbers, I'm pretty sure the mobile market is the biggest moneymaker.
Mm.
No way. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you get all the casual gamers playing Candy Crush.
Well, that's true.
Then I think it was consoles and then PC.
Oh, okay.
Because the barrier of entry for PC gaming is a little bit higher than it is for consoles.
That's right. Yeah, you need to buy quite expensive computer to play the games decently. Yeah,
Yep.
true.
Yeah, but it is getting a lot less advantageous to buy a console because it used to be you'd buy a console and the game would just work. Now you've got all your accounts and you have to pay for multiplayer
Oh,
and
And then you have subscriptions as well.
yeah, they're all doing that though. Everything on the
yeah.
planet seems to be doing that. I'm just waiting for subscriptions to food and stuff.
Uh, yeah, HelloFresh.
Oh shit! I
Oh no,
remember
no,
That's
that.
a
not quite,
food subscription.
not quite what I meant. I was meaning more like you have to pay a subscription to be allowed to go shopping.
Ooh, don't
Oh
give them ideas.
I couldn't give them
no!
what I did. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I mean, we already see light and easy and stuff like that.
No, because games are like you have to pay subscription to play them. So I was thinking more along the lines you've got to pay subscription to be allowed to get.
It's like, do you want to live? Pay-
I mean, between the total lack of competition there is between Woolies and Coles, I could totally see one of them going for that and the other
oh,
Oh
letting
yeah,
it happen.
and it's scary. The other one would go, "Oh, that's a good idea," and join in.
oh no!
What
Yeah,
have I
let's.
done? I've started something.
If society crumbles, Scissor, I'm blaming you. You started this.
Oh no, what have I done? I'm shutting my mouth for the rest of the show. There you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
the other question you also have to ask is like, is it? I'm looking at the whole phrases group, and everyone's blaming the big company for destroying this for destroying this company. Should they ultimately be blamed for this, or is it just was it just they just inherited a big problem and they just the fall guy?
that's hard to answer without the data.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
But I
don't
mean,
think.
what happens? Oh, sorry.
I don't think physical game stores are quite dead yet. So I think it's probably they're trying to get whatever money they can out of it while they can.
Mm, that makes sense. But yeah, I think by the picture you showed me of game, it looks like it's pure game. I couldn't see anything in that store that looked like anything else. So maybe the problem was that they didn't diversify like EB Games did, and that's why they crashed.
Yeah.
I mean, diversifying doesn't always help, but sometimes it helps. Maybe EB Games is surviving because it wasn't resistant to the idea.
Yeah, so is it a good idea for EB Games to diversify more and sell more toys and stuff? Or is it a better idea for them to really narrow down on the enthusiasts and start selling like gaming PCs?
Why not both? Sorry, I had to
Well,
throw that one in there. I love that ad.
But that's
But
it's
yeah,
but there's a fine line to do it. Like JB is on the one hand, JB's doing the whole like okay, he's got the tech stuff, but on the other hand, you got EB doing the gaming merch stuff. So it's kind of like a fine line, and no
yeah,
one's
they kind of
cracked it
become the
yet.
same store, don't they? If they did that, then again, JB Hi-Fi sells a lot more other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think JB Hi-Fi, I think of music.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm the same. I'm the same. But I mean, that might be a generational thing as well.
Yeah, I will note that they do sell phones and stuff there now too.
Yeah, they sell a lot of stuff. I went into one a while ago looking for I can't remember what it was. There was an ad said go here, that's where it's cheapest. Maybe a laptop. Yeah, and I was really surprised by all the things they had in there for stuff and games and I don't know if they had consoles, but I didn't look too hard. Is there more questions?
I've got none so far. But before we go to our next topic, I forgot to put this as an update. Professor, we've got an update on the social media ban.
Oh,
Yep, it passed. They're still being very vague about how it's actually going to work, though,
they
and they're
probably don't
giving
know.
exemptions to some sites and not others.
It'd be like they probably don't know how it's going to work. This is where I'll probably get angry. It's like the idiots in EU who got where all these warnings for cache and all that sort of stuff. It's like sites can't work without
Mm,
cookies. I should say, sorry, not cache. I'm using the wrong word. Without cookies. A lot of sites can't function without properly. They can still do the bare minimum, but they can't function properly without cookies. So it was the craziest thing to ban. And some cookies are really helpful. Some cookies are bad, but they just did a blanket ban. A blanket, yeah, you've got to say this and put a warning. I'm just getting angry because it was such a pain in the ass to implement all that on all the sites because I'm a web developer.
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it is. Technology things shouldn't be decided by politicians who don't even know how the technology works.
Yeah, and what was interesting, the speed of the whole thing was just wow. 1 minute they were talking about it, the next minute, boom, it's now into effect.
Well, there is an election coming up. Maybe they think it's going to help them.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe parents angry about their kids on social media is a big market. Big
Voting block?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was trying to think of the word. Thanks. Or they think they are, and it turns out they're not actually, and they're going to lose because they did something really silly.
Well, both sides have promised to bring in a social media ban.
Okay, I almost swore then. Okay, that's crazy. The biggest reason I think it's crazy is because kids are very tech savvy, so they're
oh
going to
yeah,
find ways around this really easy. So it's a bit of a waste of time.
oh yeah. You're gonna see YouTube videos after YouTube videos of, hey, here's how you circumvent this government and
Exactly,
enforced
exactly.
program.
Exactly. Kids can still get porn. They're still going to be able to get social media. I mean, if we're going to concentrate on anything, it should be stopping porn being so freely available, not social media.
What's even worse is the fact that I feel sorry for the mental health organizations that rely on the social media.
Yes. How are kids going to get their hands on that?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a big plus to social media. Probably about anything I like about it.
yeah,
I mean, I have the choice to get rid of it if I want to, and I probably would get rid of it if it wasn't for the marketing side of my job. I would not be on Facebook still.
yeah,
But that's a choice. I get to have that choice.
yeah. So, but the new rules won't come into force for another year to allow social media companies to apply. So even though it's been passed, it's going to be a while till we see social media companies try and.
That's going to be a crack up. Is it going to be like a button that says, yes, I'm over 16? Oh no, what button will they press?
Yeah, well, considering they're planning on enforcing it by penalizing the sites, I think they'll probably have to find a better way to do it than just a pop up.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
just sounds like it'd be so easy for them to bypass. So who cares? It's going to be all a big waste of time.
Yeah. And speaking of big wastes of time, on to our next topic.
Introduces me. Oh, no?
Denis Villeneuve expressed his disinterest in the Star Wars movies. And for those who do not know who Denis Villeneuve is, he is the acclaimed director of the Dune movies. And he explains it by saying that as a fan of the original Star Wars movies and The Empire Strikes Back, he was deeply invested in the franchise during his youth. However, he felt that the Return of the Jedi shifted focus, becoming a comedy for kids, with the introduction of the Ewoks, which he found particularly frustrating. And it was so frustrating that at one point he thought that the franchise derailed.
Derailed with the Ewoks. Well, maybe the Ewok special makes sense. It probably derailed them for a few decades.
Yeah.
The Christmas special.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Christmas special. That was horrid.
I've
Yeah,
never seen it, but by all accounts, it's not worth watching.
Nope.
It's time you'll never get back in your.
So he said how he went like he said this. It was a long story. I was 15 years old, and my best friend and I wanted to take a cab, go to LA, and talk to George Lucas. We were so angry. Still today, the Ewoks. It turned out to be a comedy for kids. Star Wars became crystallized in its own mythology. Very dogmatic. It seemed like a recipe. No more surprises. So I'm not dreaming to do a Star Wars because I felt like code is very codified.
Oh wow!
And by the way, Professor, knowing you as a Star Trek fan, this is what he said about Star Trek. As far as Star Trek goes, Villeneuve admitted, "I'm not a Trekkie."
So he's neither. He's like neither stars.
Yep.
That's all right. He made amazing Dune movies.
I gotta see them.
Yeah, so he criticized the Star Wars for being overly formatic and crystallized his mythology, leaving little room for creativity or surprises. As a filmmaker, he prefers working on narratives that allow for more innovation, like those in Blade Runner 2049 and his Dune adaptations. Which okay, that's true. That is actually true. I mean, with Blade Runner 2049, that was a good. There was a lot more innovation. You see.
Well, I can't remember what they're called. Oh god, the first of the new Star Wars. I mean, that was just another Death Star, but a planet. Like,
Yeah, The
no
Force
originality.
Awakens.
No originality at all. Oh, we have to blow up this planet to save the day. Hang on, that sounds familiar. But yeah, that's my take on it.
And then you made Kylo Ren like, okay, this is Darth Vader, but this is Darth Vader all over again.
Okay, but in Star Wars' defense,
Okay.
second two movies of the sequels, that's something you're not going to hear from me often, defending Star Wars. But the second two movies of the sequel trilogy
Yep.
couldn't have possibly been formulaic because nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
That's actually true.
I like that. Defend them with a backhand. I love it.
Oh, so
Give them the candy with a punch in the face.
here's an interesting thing though. Given what we've seen recently with Star Wars, like with the Acolyte and the Mandalorian, and the recent Star Wars and the upcoming Star Wars, the Skeleton Crew, and with like Ahsoka, for example, do you think Star Wars will ever regain its innovative spark? Or is it permanently crystallized in its mythology, as Villeneuve says?
Was it ever innovative? Like,
Yeah.
even the original trilogy is pretty derivative.
Uh-huh.
When you break it down, yeah, true. But they just seem to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
Never speak again of what are they called again? Those stupid things that make the Force.
I now I can't remember the names now.
Midi-chlorians?
Yeah, midi-chlorians.
I hate them so much. I hate them. Like with a passion. That destroyed Star Wars to me. Seeing that's when I stopped watching and loving. It's just so stupid. You're telling me germs give them their power. What the hell? Are you serious?
But that was innovation at the time.
Innovation my ass.
Have
I
you seen?
could go on for hours about this. I could go on for hours.
And then what was I remember the other one at the with the Acolyte. There was the newest innovation, a lightsaber whip.
What the hell?
Exactly, a lightsaber whip.
They're just making shit up now.
They call it
Ignore everything.
It's called a light whip.
Oh my! Oh, it's not even one thread. It's a whole bunch of threads. It's like a cat of nine tails. My
It,
God, that makes
although,
no sense.
although what's interesting, like you look at you look at his movies, like there are lessons to be learned. But then you look at Star Wars, like what lessons, if any, can you take from Star Wars nowadays that influence the approach to science fiction storytelling nowadays?
I don't know.
Like when you
I
look
know
at
that I
oh,
know that the original Star Wars were good because George Lucas listened to his helpers,
hmm.
and I know that the prequels were bad because he didn't.
Wasn't it
Yeah,
basically his ex-wife? She
Yeah.
edited the original trilogy and was responsible for making it not suck.
and there's also a lot of the people on the crew would say, "No, that's a bad idea. We should do this, Mr. Lucas." And he'd be like, okay, yeah, okay, we'll do that." That's the rumors anyway. I don't know if it's true because I wasn't there. I was I was barely born.
Ah, Susie, I love how you're showing your age at this episode.
Oh yeah, I saw these. I saw the first Star Wars at a drive-in theater, so that tells you how old I am. I don't think our town even had a cinema.
Yeah.
It was a drive-in theater that was like way out of town on really cheap land.
Here's a question for you guys. Given what he says in terms of like given what he said about Star Wars, you reckon he's right in essence? Like given how it's turned into a like how the Return of the Jedi, for example, it turned into a comedy for kids, especially with the Ewoks.
I didn't see that personally. Even on hearing that, I still I can kind of see it, kind of not. I just always wondered how stormtroopers. What was the point of their armor if throwing rocks at them could get them?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
What kind of armor was this, and why were they even wasting their time wearing it? They could have just had a shirt on. Would have been cooler. They wouldn't look as cool. Maybe that's what it is. That's what the armor
Mhm.
is for, to look cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have just got a nice haircut.
So, I got a question for you guys though. How do you view the role of nostalgia in the science fiction franchises today?
Star Wars is a big factor.
Yeah.
But I will admit, there are younger generations who think the prequels are awesome and the original ones aren't so great. So doesn't matter.
Oh,
It's whatever one you first come across is must be what you watch as a kid is the one you love.
yeah, yeah,
I think that must be what it is. So then that tells you straight away it's all about nostalgia. As you get to as an adult, you're going to love it because you loved it as a kid. So I can see that. Sorry,
yeah,
Professor, I jumped.
I think also the part of the issue is that they pump out so much Star Wars content these days.
yeah,
Yeah, it's true. I haven't watched any of it, but I have seen it all advertised.
Yeah, it's hard to create nostalgia for something that isn't exceptional. And a lot of
Yeah,
this new Star Wars content seems to be just okay.
yeah, it's okay and a hot mess. Makes no sense.
and the money and the amount of money investing into those Star Wars projects are insane.
Most movies are these days, though, aren't they? Anything with special effects costs a fortune.
Even the TV series as well. Like how much the like I'm looking at the Acolyte. Apparently, for the Acolyte, for all of its 8 episodes, it was $180 million in total.
Sweet.
Oh, no, actually, no, not 180. Scratch that. 230 million,
Wow.
and that show got cancelled.
I'd love to know how streaming things work because these
Mm.
are all on streaming channel. Well, these are all on. I mean, do they really bring people in? The people who aren't subscribed already, are they going, "Oh, I'm going to subscribe," or is it just the people who are already subscribed? Is it making them extra money doing these shows?
I think it's the nostalgia. Here's another interesting thing. So as I said, the Acolyte for it cost 230 million to make that entire series. Look at Dune 2. The budget for that entire movie was 190 million, and their box office return 714 million.
Wow. Well, I hear it's a good movie, so that makes total sense.
Yeah,
It's not really fair to compare a movie and a series on their budget, though, because a series has to fill like
Many hours.
4 times as much content.
okay, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. I've tried. I haven't
I
seen that.
totally disagree. No, I agree totally.
I agree with you there. I agree with you there, though, Professor. Like, I haven't seen anything on the how much it costs to make the the Dune Prophecy TV series. So yeah, you might be right on that one.
They have a series. I guess everyone's in now, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
What streaming channel's that on? I'm assuming on
Uh,
HBO. Yeah.
HBO
That's
Max.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows what will be on in Australia?
Oh yeah. Anyways, on to our next topic. So cervical cancer. Is there a cure for it?
Well, yes and no. It's not really a cure, it's a preventative.
Ah,
Very true.
The good news is the preventative is a very simple vaccine because it turns out most cases of cervical cancer are caused by a virus, the human papilloma virus, or HPV, which is an STD that, among other cancers, causes cervical cancer. So the HPV vaccine that they have currently covers, I think, 9 strains of HPV
Oh wow.
and can prevent 6 HPV-related cancers: cervical, vaginal, vulva, penile, oropharyngeal, and anal cancer.
Goodness.
yeesh.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a lot of cancers wiped out.
Yeah. So this study is looking at the effects of the vaccine on cancer rates. And what they've found is that the rates are plummeting stupendously
That's
since
awesome.
the vaccine became available.
Shame viruses didn't cause most cancers. Then we could get rid of them totally.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately, there's a lot more complicated cancers out there.
Uh-huh.
yeah, unfortunately, cancer is basically, depending on where you get it, it's a different disease entirely.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
really hard to create a one-fits-all treatment.
But that's really cool. They figured out it was a virus doing it, and then went, well, let's get rid of this virus.
What's going to be even more harder is the genetic makeup of people, because that's, yeah, professor said it's hard to make a one vaccine fits all scenario
Mm,
when you have different people.
Well, that's something that's been talked about for the RNA vaccines. But the proof that this vaccine worked is that there's a trend downwards in deaths of cervical cancer
that's awesome.
for the past 30 years or so.
Wow.
But the vaccine only became available nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, okay, that does make sense.
So, what's going on here, right? The
Yeah.
difference is that it takes 10 to 15 years to develop cancer from HPV.
Oh,
And when we look at the graphs that they've come up with for the study, the trend from 10 to 15 years after the vaccine became available drops massively faster than the projected decrease if all things had remained the same.
that makes sense. If it's also a transmitted disease,
Yeah,
the disease-free love that would have transmitted a lot of it.
that's a possibility, and better knowledge and screening would explain why why there was
Yeah,
a downwards trend to begin with.
I guess that would make sense for most people. Screen for most things now that they never used to, as in cancer.
Yeah,
Like you get skin cancer tests now, which wasn't a thing when I was a kid. But like DJ said, that was a very, very long time.
Yeah.
so what the authors say is especially exciting about this is that currently they're looking at the data for younger women showing the largest decrease. So
Oh,
it's possible that in another couple of generations, we might see, if everybody was able to get vaccinated, we might see the HPV strains that cause cancer completely wiped out.
yeah, it's really weird. If it's a transmitted thing, I wonder why guys don't get the vaccine as well. I mean, we
They
can't
do
get
now.
yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure when exactly you get it. You get it when you're about 15, I think.
Oh,
But
you get when you're younger. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, they've only. I was looking into it to prepare for this topic, but they only. I think it was in 2013 that they authorized it for use in males,
Oh, okay, so
which is.
there we go, yeah.
It first came out in 2006.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's so recent.
Yeah, so a lot of guys will have not gotten it,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
the younger your sample is, the more likely it is the guys have got it.
Mm.
And even if it didn't prevent penile cancer, it would also still be beneficial to vaccinate males because it reduces the transmission rate
Yeah,
further.
exactly. Exactly.
what's going to be interesting with these with the data, it's going to be looking at whether the current whether populations are becoming more health conscious nowadays than years and years ago.
Well, they test for a lot more things now. When you get to a certain age, you test for that. Because I'm about to turn 50, so I've got this list of things that I'm meant to be tested for now.
Oh crap!
So
That's good.
yeah, but I mean, it's a good thing. It's just because at that age is when it occurs the most, so that's why they have a bit of a thing saying you really should do this now. But sun cancer, you get tested from like when you're young, because you got a weird mole that's changing shape. You get tested straight away.
Yeah.
I get sunburn just walking to the shops now, so I've got to be careful.
Oh boy.
But that's just because I have ridiculously
The other interest
all the time.
the other interesting thing for this is going to be the so our pharmacies this will be good information for pharmaceuticals as well, like if they want to test out a cure, maybe they could use this as a base model.
But I don't know if that works because, like Professor was saying, this is a type of cancer that's caused by a virus. Pretty sure that's not very common with most other cancers.
Yeah, like this wouldn't work for mesothelioma because that's caused by asbestos.
Yeah, see? So yeah,
You get fragments of rock in your lung that cause constant damage until the scar tissue becomes cancerous.
Yeah.
is that how it works? Yeah, makes sense.
That's how I understand it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I would
I
trust
could
it.
be wrong with that.
Anything that damages your body seems to be more susceptible to cancer when it had that damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another reason why people who drink lots of hot tea are more likely to get throat cancer.
No
Ooh.
way.
Yeah, there's actually a link between drinking hot tea and throat cancer from especially in South America, where they drink lots of, what is it called, mate?
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's a kind of tea that they drink there.
Oh,
But
okay.
traditionally, it's drunk at an extremely high temperature.
Oh, so that's what does it. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, it's fascinating.
Ah, here we go. It's a Paraguayan drink. It's a yerba mate or yerba mate. It's yeah, mate. There we go.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you let your tea cool down a bit more, then you would reduce your risk of getting throat cancer. But they traditionally drink it so hot that it causes damage to their throat.
Yeah, it's from what I'm seeing here, it's suggested that this explain cancers associated with mate consumption, such as lung and bladder cancer. This that cannot be attributed to its hot temperature. Instead, the hot temperature mate is specifically linked to esophageal cancer. However, the occurrences of PAH, which is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons in mate leaves and infusion, is based on small studies with non-representative samplings. In any case, the use of mate with potentially lowering PAH content, such as unsmoked mate, has been suggested as a preventative approach. So if it's smoked mate, then that's bad for you. But if it's unsmoked, that's good for you.
A little bit good for you both sounds.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Completely hypothetically here. But I wonder if smoking the tea causing cancer is related to how smoked meats cause cancer.
Ooh.
I wonder if there's a similar effect from the smoking process.
I wonder if
That's interesting.
I wonder if it's a similar case with smoking smoked salmon as well, though.
Yeah, I don't know if that causes cancer.
Well, I guess as we find out more, we're probably going to find out everything.
Oh no.
Yep, that's why California just slaps a big sticker on everything.
I've heard about that.
Oh, I wonder if I want to see some celebrity go, you get some cancer, you get some cancer, you get some cancer, you get some cancer, you get some cancer. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Yeah, what's going to be what's going to be interesting from this study is like, are we going to see any lessons from this success story that can be applied to other cancer preventing efforts?
Well, if they're caused by viruses, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shane.
No, I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I've heard of like really weird vaccine where they introduce a genetically created virus that eats cancer, which sounds kind of scary. And I think there's a movie made about it called what's it called?
Was it Resident Evil?
No, well, that's one of them. I think that's one of them. Actually, I think that's what they base all that stuff on. And then there's the I can't think of the movie. I know the movie, but I can't think of the name. It had Legend.
Oh, I Am Legend. Yeah.
Legend. That's it. Yeah. So that puts a little bit of scare into you when you see that. But then again, AI. Everyone's scared of AI because of things like Terminator.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, the year given, we should have already Skynet should have already gone live or already gone self-sentient.
Yeah, it's
So-
funny. A lot of 70s movies were like, by the year 2010, the world will have ended 20 times, and we're still here.
We're still here.
Oh,
My favorite is 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Yeah,
where they have Ansett, is it? Ansett Airlines, who went bust a decade or so later.
that's hilarious.
I used to remember the old Transformers movie. I think they said like in the year 2010 or something, or 2020, like we will have Transformers transforming cars, or humans can transform as well, or something along those lines. It's a 19. Oh yeah, 2005, the Decepticons would have we'll see Autobots in Earth.
Man, I feel ripped off. They've been in hiding, obviously, for the last 20 years.
I'm just looking at the plot, and then there is Daniel Witwicky, son of Spike Witwicky. I'm like, Witwicky, where have I heard that name? Oh, here we go. It was in the Michael Bay movie. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's also from the original series. They were called Wiki.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The kid and the father, the father was construction worker. I think they're both some sort of. They wore hard hats, so I don't know what they were doing. But they both went, "Yes, we'll help you, Transformers. We don't know what the hell you are, but we will help you
Somehow.
We will help you." Oh, have you heard of the? I don't know if we're allowed to go off topic.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Okay. There's a new Transformers comic, which is sort of like a what if. What if Starscream was the first one to get woken up? And he kills Bumblebee straight away.
Oh man.
There's no Bumblebee in this series at all. And he kills a few others. And they all get there's a lot of stuff happens. You end up with a lot less Transformers than there were in the original TV series.
Oh.
But Starscream's like, "What are these things?" and picks up a human and squeezes it. And, oh, they're very squishy. And then the person pops. And like, what the hell? This is way more grittier than the stuff I know. So they're just like, "Oh, humans, they just blew up. Oh, let's grab another one, see if it happens again."
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, a bit darker than the comics I grew up on. That's for sure.
Oh man. Anyways, we'll be back. On that note, we'll be back after a small break, and then we'll be back with the shout outs and the wacky movie. And on to our shout outs. We've got wait, I think I lost my space. Wait. Oh, here we go. So on November 2024, it was the 40th anniversary of 1942. You guys remember 1942?
I'm not quite that old.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was in grade 12. I was just getting ready to finish school. Good times. No,
I mean, I'm at the game.
Okay.
So you remember 1984, the game?
You mean 1942, the game?
Yeah,
1942. 1984 is an awesome book.
yeah. That was a fun RPG game. But anyways, so 1942, it was a vertically scrolling shooter game. Were developed and published by Capcom for the arcades, designed by Yoshiki Okamoto. It was the first game in the 194X series, and was followed by 1943, The Battle of Midway. This game was set in the Pacific Theater of World War II and is loosely based on the Battle of Midway. Despite the game being created by Japanese developers, the goal is to reach Tokyo and destroy the Japanese air fleet. This was due to being the first Capcom game designed by with Western markets in mind. It It went on to be a commercial success in arcades, becoming Japan's fifth highest grossing table arcade game of 1986 and one of the top 5 highest grossing arcade conversion kits that year in the United States. It was ported to the Nintendo Entertainment System, selling over 1 million copies worldwide, along with other home systems.
Wow.
1942 was the first Capcom title to spawn a successful series of sequels, with the 5 titles of the 194X line released from 1987 to 2000. Many of the Capcom's other vertical shooters featured very similar gameplay, such as Varth Operation Thunderstorm. It sold a total of 1.4 million units worldwide as of December 2019, and stands as Capcom's 18th best-selling franchise.
Cool.
24th of November 1969 was the 25th anniversary of Toy Story 2. You guys remember that lovely movie?
Who doesn't?
Yeah. By the way, it was
Even people born after that have seen it like 100 times.
Yeah. By the way, it's 1999, not 1969. My mistake. This was a studio produced by Pixar for the Walt Disney Pictures. It's a sequel. It's a second sequel. And in this film, Woody is stolen by a greedy toy collector, prompting Buzz Lightyear and his friends to save him. But Woody is then tempted by the idea of immortality in a museum.
Ooh, stuck in plastic. That sounds like fun.
Disney initially envisioned Toy Story 2 as a direct-to-video sequel. The film began production in a building separated from Pixar on a small scale, as most of the main Pixar staff were busy working on A Bug's Life. When story reels proved promising, Disney upgraded the film to a theatrical release, but Pixar was unhappy with the film's quality. Lasseter and the story team redeveloped the entire plot in over 1 weekend. Although most Pixar features take years to develop, the established release could be moved to production schedule for Toy Story 2 to be compressed to 9 months.
Wow.
Now, wasn't this the one where they lost the original tapes?
Yep.
And it was saved by a pregnant woman who had taken some home to work on?
Yep.
No way.
Oh, and this was also the studio that had Lawyer Crunch involved as well. It was so bad to the point where one animator had forgotten to drop his child off at daycare one morning, and in a mental haze forgot that the baby was in the back seat of the car in the parking lot. Although quick action by rescue workers headed off the worst, the incident became a horrific indicator as some of the crew was working too hard.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and some of them were suffering from carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive strain injuries as well from
Wow.
it.
Well, it's a good thing they got that baby out of the car, because then he could grow up and enjoy dad's
Oh,
or mum's.
yeah.
Shame that it was a dad.
On November 2024, it was the 45th anniversary of Asteroids the Game. This was conceived during a meeting between Log and Rains, who decided to use hardware developed by Wendy Allen, then known as Howard Delman, previously used by Lunar Lander. Asteroids was based on an unfinished title known as Cosmos. Its physical model, control scheme, and gameplay elements were derived from Space War. Computer Space and Space Invaders were redefined through trial and error. The game is rendered on the vector display in a 2-dimensional view, then wraps around both screen axes. You guys enjoyed that game, huh?
Yeah.
I was way too old when it came.
Asteroids slowed down as the players gained 50 to 100 lives because there is no limit to the number of lives displayed. The player can lose the game after more than 250 lives are collected. Huh.
Yeah, that would wrap around be an overflow. That would wrap around the counter back to 0.
Okay. So, Professor, what's a messed up moment in nerddom this week?
Have you ever heard of Maralinga?
No?
It's the only time the UK has nuked Australia.
Oh, wow.
Wait. The only time?
Okay, they did it a few times.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that, where Australia was used as a testing ground.
Yeah, and I knew it was messed up thing because a lot of people got cancer from the testing.
I can
And I
imagine.
didn't know that they were also exhuming the bodies of babies without permission to study their bones.
Oh, oh, what the hell?
That's messed up.
Yeah, so bones absorb strontium 90, which is a radioactive isotope produced by nuclear bombs. It replaces the calcium.
Oh, that's not good.
And yeah, it's not good, but they would exhume the bodies of dead children to measure the amount of strontium 90 and study how it had spread around the world from the nuclear testing.
Of course, because it's a byproduct of the bomb going on. So that means it's everywhere now. I never thought of that.
Let me guess, there must have been a huge fallout from that, no pun intended.
No, even though tons of people developed cancer and there was a bunch of dodgy stuff like Project Sunshine, which was the one digging up the bodies,
Oh, what a lovely name for that.
they
Sunshine.
pretty much got away with it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh. Okay, on that note, let's move on to the wacky movie, and it is on the 20th November 2012, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, which premiered in New Zealand, and they were treated with an exclusive theatrical premiere engagement of of this movie, written in part and directed by Peter Jackson. The fantasy feature film starred Martin Freeman, Ian McKellen, and Richard Armitage. And we all know the plot, right, to this movie?
Yes, well, if it's the same as the book, I do.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And it was almost 9 years after the release of The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. This film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $1.017 billion in the box office, making the fourth highest grossing film of 2012. The film received numerous accolades at the 85th Academy Awards. It was nominated for the Best Production Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and Best Visual Effects. And if I recall, Professor, you hated this movie.
I haven't seen it, but I hate that they took a book that was a third of the size of one of the Lord of the Rings movies and made, 4 movies out of it?
3.
Okay, only 3.
Wow.
There was no need to add in all of that extra content.
Yes, there was, so they could make more money. God, I didn't know they did that. That makes no sense. The other ones were one movie each, and The Hobbit's
Yeah.
all in one of those books.
So, Del Toro was also involved in it, if I recall. And then he left.
Yeah, he was going to direct it. He left, and Peter Jackson had to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, Jackson said, I spent most of The Hobbit feeling like I was not on top of it. Even from a script point of view, a couple of people and I hadn't got the entire scripts written out of our satisfaction, so there was a high-pressure situation. However, Jackson goes on to explain in the DVD featurette the various ways in which he and his crew overcame the obstacles encountering during filming. They found ways of making things work, even in a, quote, very high-pressure situation, in which he and his crew found themselves, especially shooting of the Battle of the Five Armies, which was shifted from 2012 to 2013 to be properly planned and shot. Apparently, this movie had a shooting and projection frame rate of 48 frames per second, becoming the first feature film with a wide release to do so. And this was advertised as high frame rate to the general public. However, the majority of cinemas projected the film at the industry standard of 24 frames per second after the film was converted. And this movie had at a facility that housed the production of The Hobbit. Up to 27 animals had died in the movie. The animals in question were horses, goats, chickens, and 1 sheep.
Wow. For all the green screen, I'm surprised they managed to have actual animals.
Yeah.
Oh, this was the movie that was famous for that infamous green screen. We know that one with Gandalf.
He broke down crying because he couldn't handle the green screen.
Oh, it was so it was so bad. Apparently, he was so affected by this that he thought of quitting that movie entirely.
Wow.
and the crew had to cheer him up by giving him memorabilia from the old movies and also some fresh fruit and wine as well.
I think it's the wine that helped.
Yeah, yeah. So,
The
here we go.
best part to come out of the filming of The Hobbit
Yeah.
is Legolas singing they're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Oh, I love that. That was a fun bit. Also, another interesting thing. Bilbo Baggins, before Martin Freeman, Daniel Radcliffe, Shia LaBeouf, Eddie Redmayne, James McAvoy were all considered or auditioned for the role of Bilbo Baggins. Now, think about that. Can you imagine Shia LaBeouf as Bilbo Baggins?
Yeah,
He would have gotten into character, though. He would have gone and actually lived in a hole in the ground.
Oh, yeah. This movie was apparently also took Peter Jackson a lot of production hell because apparently there were a lot of legal disputes with New Line Cinema, Peter Jackson, and the Tolkien families, which complicated the production. MGM finally moved the project forward in 2008, where more complications ensued when MGM entered bankruptcy and froze production, causing Del Toro to step down after 3 years of pre-production. Later, it was almost cast out of New Zealand when several unions and guilds blacklisted the project, and shooting was delayed again when Peter Jackson recovered from surgery for a perforated ulcer. Oh man.
ouch. He must have been very stressed.
Yeah, he was hospitalized in 2001, which just so happened to be one of the contributing causes of Tolkien's death as well. Luckily, it was caught in time and surgery went smoothly, with the only impact on production being pushed back principal photographer by a month, so Jackson could recover before putting himself under 3 more years of constant stress.
Wow. And then everyone else had to go undergo all that stress of watching 3 damn.
Uh-huh. Anyways, on that note, that's all we have for. Oh, also before I go, this was the. I forgot to tell you an interesting trivia. This was the only movie that you see Gollum actually cry as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the one movie that Gollum sheds a tear. This is the one.
Which one?
Uh,
Of them?
it was the yeah. This was when Bilbo was wearing the ring.
Ah,
That he starts crying. But anyways, on that note, where can they find us, Professor?
Everywhere.
Yes.
ooh, everywhere.
Actually,
Too hard to list everything, so I'm just going to say everywhere.
actually, on that note, I actually have a special announcement to make.
Ooh.
We are now on TikTok.
Oh, I
TikTok.
didn't even know TikTok did audio only.
Oh, we'll be posting some fun stuff there,
Oh,
but
cool.
audio and video. So
Ooh.
check us out on TikTok. Anyways, that's all we have for this week. Stay happy, stay nerdy, and check out ComX, where you'll find lovely works of Scissor and other comic book artists from Australia.
Yeah, correct. That's ComXNETAU all over the internet.
Very nice. And look after yourselves and stay hydrated.
Hey, that's my line.
Here